having something like Thank You allows for that opportunity to exist because it's easy to use and it allows for that to happen quite naturally.
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast, where we meet the innovative voices behind the ideas moving fundraising forward.
Welcome to the EverTrue Innovators podcast. My name is Hannah Davis, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts Madeline Turner and Keith Manieri.
Howdy.
Hello.
Okay, quick question for the group. What if January wasn't a dead zone for fundraising?
Ooh, I would have to say it sounds bold and, dare I say, risky.
Or incredibly smart, because today's guest, the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, turned it into a full month of donor appreciation and saw over 56% retention.
Their Thank-YOU-ary campaign turned donor appreciation into a month-long, segmented stewardship experience that strengthened engagement and list health.
Let's hear from Southern Alberta Institute of Technology winners of the Thank-You-ary Stewardship Award.
I've been working at SAIT for around 4 years now, in donor relations for coming up to over 15 years, maybe just under 20, so quite some time. Worked in a couple of different industries, but education is something that matters to me, and so it's been really great to be part of the team at SAIT. Right now we're in campaign, so my title I always forget, but I'm a specialist in relation to campaign. Having said that, I do things outside of campaign as well, so it keeps every day really fun and engaging and kind of it's a real team that embraces innovation and kind of wants to always push the needle forward, which is such a great environment to be in because it really lets you pioneer and prototype and test things out and kind of learn and develop, which, I mean, that's what school's all about. So it's kind of nice that our team kind of embraces that too. And that's kind of a culture that we have. So it's been really fun being part of the team and kind of working with our regular donors or campaign donors because really they're all the same. And so that's been a really rewarding part of my role. And this project obviously was one that was really cool and you'll hear later kind of came up with a short timeline and where you'd expect people to kind of be like, maybe not this year. Everyone jumped on board immediately and it was really nice to see that collaboration and that excitement on the team.
Well, let's start there. You launched Thank-You-ary, which is a full month dedicated to donor gratitude. Walk us through what that was, what problem you were trying to solve. Tell us all about it.
So the funny thing about the problem is it wasn't really a problem. We didn't have a problem. We just saw an opportunity. So I'll kind of start with how it all came about. Because we were thinking we were nearing the end of the year. It was early December, I'd say, and we were talking about a wrap-up reel for, right before we went on holiday, something to put up to get people excited about what had happened that year, which was really great, and we ended up doing that. But I was thinking, well, what about January? Let's get people excited. What could we do looking forward that kind of pushes the needle a little bit further? And I'd actually known an institution in my previous years that I didn't work for, but was always inspired by because what they did is they actually wrapped up a campaign and dedicated their entire year to all donor relations messaging. So it was all thanking and gratitude and impact, no cultivation or solicitation for an entire year, which was pretty impressive. Now, obviously, not all organizations can do that all the time, and we're in the middle of campaigns. So that kind of approach wouldn't make sense for us right now, but January was that perfect opportunity where it's kind of a pause. There's a big push coming up into December for all sorts of giving, and then it kind of gets quiet, and that quietness allows for that opportunity to truly thank and do just that, talk about impact and thank without any other conflicting or competing priorities. So it was kind of we didn't really have a problem. We would have been just fine just carrying on into January like we usually do, but we saw an opportunity to kind of test something out and kind of try embracing that opportunity of the quietness to kind of make some noise when it came to gratitude and impact and thanking donors. And so we kind of just jumped on board with that and kind of headed into Thank-You-ary. Thank-You-ary itself, I wanted to kind of touch upon each of the donor relations pillars, so stewardship, engagement, recognition, and acknowledgement. And I wanted to keep it in a way that kind of I'm a big start small, create a really good foundation, and then jump off of it in the future. And so we kind of picked one thing from each element. So we had an opening and closing email that went out through ThankView with a video, and that was those emails were customized depending on different donor segments. We also did at least one social post per week on different types of donors and different types of giving and the impact that they've made. So storytelling there. We had an in-person event where we had students come in and write thank you cards to people who had hit 5, 10, 15, and 20-year milestones. And then internally for staff, we also had a gratitude wall where people could come in and express their gratitude for donors that they've seen make impact on campus. And it could be a specific moment or a specific donor or a broader based thank you. It really wasn't controlled as to what type of messaging. And we saw everything that kind of covered that map. Some were very broad and some were very specific. So it was really neat to kind of see everyone jump on board and see it all come to life throughout the month. And we had some really great results, and the team was really excited about it. One of my favorite things about it was that um, really when it came up again, the obvious answer would have been, well, we only have a month next year. Would be better, but everyone's eyes as soon as they heard about it lit up, and everyone just jumped on board and was super excited to be involved. I mean, even the thank you card gratitude event was kind of something that I had earmarked as maybe this year it's too much, and one of the team members who does events, Carly, she was like, no, 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 I want to do this. Let's do this year. So we made it work, and it was really great. So yeah, that's kind of how it came to be, and in a nutshell, kind of what it involved.
When did you realize that this was something that was more than a one-time opportunity, but something that would be repeatable and that you would be doing yearly?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say just from the engagement of the team and the excitement. But once we kind of started getting into it, we kind of saw those results from our first, because the first email that we sent out was really the start of kind of seeing reactions and kind of measurements of success. So we kind of looked at those response rates and saw them right away. I think the exact moment, if I have to be honest, was probably at the gratitude where we had the students writing the gratitude cards, because just seeing everyone come together, like no, everyone understood what the event was about. We had students walking by who weren't invited. It's not that they weren't invited, but we had invited award winners to write the notes. So that's kind of how we got in the group to show up. But students were walking by and being like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Can I join in? Can I write some notes?" So kind of seeing that, and even having students say, I have this list of donors I'm supposed to write thank you notes to, but can I write a few more to other donors because I'd
Wow.
really like to write a few more. So that was kind of to me the biggest indicator of like we've really found something that works. So it was the team buy-in, the team excitement, and even the students and donor responses that we got as well throughout. It was a culmination of all those things.
I know that you were really intentional about keeping this simple and focused on gratitude, while also being strategic. So, can you talk a little bit about how segmentation drove your overall approach and maybe even like helped decide what you wouldn't do?
Yeah, so segmentation was something that's important, and we definitely I attribute a lot of the results that we got to that segmentation. Just like everything else, I didn't want to start and boil the ocean with like 10 different segments. It was kind of like let's test out a couple segments, see if this works, and then like next year likely we'll expand the segments. But we started off with so I have to think about it. Staff, alumni, 3-year milestone donors, and then general donors. So if you didn't fall into any of those other categories, then you got, for lack of a better term, the general email, which wasn't general at all. It was just, it wasn't targeted to one specific group. And the 3-year milestone one was interesting because this also presented an opportunity for us to trial digital engagement, recognizing milestones versus physical engagement, which the 5, 10, 15, and 20-year milestone donors got. So there's been a bit of chatter on our part about when do you use digital engagement, when do you use physical engagement, where's the line, what resonates the most. So this was a really unique opportunity for us as well to kind of pilot and test that and kind of see what resonated. The unfortunate part of that is that both means resonated really well. So I don't have a hard case one way or another. But that I think in itself is great because it kind of says that if the messaging in the moment is right, um, then it's right. And so that's kind of a unique thing too, is really the segmentation for us. The biggest learning was if the messaging was right and the moment was right, it didn't matter. Even we did an opening and a closing email, for instance, and both of those got really good open rates, really good. Like we had very low unsubscribe rates, and all of that again, I attribute to the fact that we had the right moment, we had the right messaging, it felt personal, the information was new, and so people were engaged enough to open it and kind of want to get further engaged. And I think that again goes back to segmentation and the customization of that messaging to make it feel relevant and specific to that person.
So for those that are listening and or watching and want to emulate this campaign, they want to kick off the year. I think that's a great idea. I mean, just in general, by the way, huge kudos. I find January around us is tends to be very bleak. So just any glimmer of positivity and hope, I know I would latch on to very quickly and probably get very excited by. And so what I'm curious looking back for those that are listening, what surprised you most, and what would you tell another advancement team who wants to try something like this, both in terms of what you would do and what you're planning on replicating kind of for the future, and maybe some things to avoid or just put in the past?
Yeah, so I think again, I'll go back to the thing that surprised me most was with the short timeline, the buy-in from the team. And I can tell you a few things because I've done some thinking as to why that happened. I mean, we have a really engaged team who loves to do things, so that's not surprising. But I mean, it was coming up on Christmas holidays. All the work had to be done in about 3 weeks to kind of set it up for success. And I think that we framed it as a pilot for the first year. We kind of called it a pilot, and I think calling it a pilot as opposed to a project really kind of removes some barriers and some like intimidation as far as taking on a new project or trying something new. So just that word of pilot, it kind of allows for not error, but learnings, right? And just takes a little bit of the pressure off. So I think that was something that was really surprising to me that that word really I think helped with people getting excited versus intimidated by a lot of work to do in a very little bit of time. And at SAIT, we like to do things really well. So we're not going to do something if we can't do it well. And the team really showed up and we did it. I think we did it pretty well. And then the other thing is that by even segmenting the different actions that we were doing throughout the month into different areas, that spread the workload amongst the team, but even more so, it spread the ownership amongst the team. So not like we had our events person, Carly, she did the gratitude event. We had Matthew and Kelsey who kind of work on writing and social. They did the social post. So it was each group kind of or person had their own ownership of their own action and kind of that was where their expertise was. So they didn't have to own the whole project, but they owned that moment of what they were working on. And I think that made it fun for them because they kind of got to get engaged, kind of get creative and get gritty with it. But also they didn't have to take on the whole month in itself all by themselves. And I was kind of the connector amongst everyone. I didn't really own any one piece of the puzzle, but I kind of made sure everyone was informed and jumped in if there were some gaps or like, for instance, I hit the send button when everyone came back from January to send out the first email because I was back. So we kind of worked really well collaboratively as a team, but we were also able to kind of own specific parts of the project and get excited about them, but not be intimidated because any one person had to own the whole thing. And I think that was a really good thing internally about how it really moved along and was so successful because I think a project can only be successful if the team's engaged and really passionate about it and really wants to put in the time and effort to make it work. There's so many times where it's like, well, if we just do this, it might be better. And it's like, well, yeah, but I have a lot of priorities. I'm working on a lot of things. And if you're really passionate about it, you'll find the time and make it work. And the team did. They really dug in and found the team to kind of go above and beyond and make each moment special.
Yeah, who doesn't want to work on a pilot? It does sound exciting.
Yeah, it just said just that change in the word just really made it fun and yeah, you could kind of get gritty as opposed to kind of feeling like it was a formal project that we had to execute, you know?
Except
Yeah.
now
Yeah,
it's
now,
formal.
yeah,
It's
now it's
official.
formal. Now it's a project.
Well, that's it sounds like a very good lesson learned too in just not just delegation, which of course is always generally it's a challenge to be honest. I think for me, but not just delegation, but kind of giving folks ownership in their lane so that they can be really excited about that and kind of the success being about, sort of the sum of all the different parts really coming together. So a lot of great ideas and congrats. Was there anything you feel that we missed? Anything that you were really proud of? Any shout outs you want to give to the team? It's your space, please.
Yeah, so definitely a big shout out to the entire team because I'm a big believer in it's always better together and anything's better with more minds. And again, I mean, I've said this a couple times now, but it would have been so easy and so reasonable for the team to kind of be like, that's a next year project, but not one person. Everybody's eyes lit up, and it was probably one of the most inspiring things to everyone be like, yes, like let's do this, and can I be a part of it? Like that was just so cool. I think one part I haven't really spoken a lot about, funny enough, is on the donor side of things. Like we definitely did get a lot of really, really, really good responses from donors. Like our biggest unsubscribed from all the communications that we had was under 1.4%, which is really, really good, considering especially that we sent multiple emails. So you'd expect to see a little bit more of a decline with multiple emails, but that really said to me that people were engaging. The other thing is thank you was great because it allowed us to really easily segment. And I think next year we will segment more, but this was kind of a way to trial segmentation in this for Thank You, and kind of see if it worked and kind of see with a short timeline how much we could do. With a longer runway next year, we'll segment a bit more, I would say, most likely. And there's even a bit of chatter about maybe doing 2 months instead of 1 month.
You're going to end up doing 12
It's going to be
months.
a whole year.
Yeah.
Um, and but being able to adjust and upload the videos to Thank You really easily. Like the one other thing I didn't really mention is that at that student thank you note writing event that we had, we also captured video, and that video is actually used to do our closeout video, and then we also saved some of it for future use as well. But thank you being so easy to upload different videos and change landing pages. It's really efficient, but it's really customized as well. And just that efficiency offers opportunity because if it would have taken us months to kind of, curate the videos and pair and everything, like there just wouldn't have been time. And the quality was there too. So having the quality and the efficiency and the ability to still customize and segment, um, really helped make this project come to life. And I think also really helped us get those strong open rates. Like staff, we had over 70% open rate, which is really, really good. Our strongest feedback from donors and our strongest rates came from those closest to us. So staff and alumni were the largest, had the best rates of all. Like
Wow.
all of our open rates and engagement rates were good, but the staff rates and the alumni rates were the greatest, which just tell us segment more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having something like Thank You allows for that opportunity to exist because it's easy to use, and it allows for that to happen quite naturally. The other thing is like being able to see our video completion rates. The funny thing I think we're over 80, if not 90% for all of our videos. And the
Wow.
funny thing is one got to 98%. Um, for everyone who watched it. And that told me the funny thing is that the video ended with an animation of our logo. So really people were just closing it. They were watching the whole video. They were just closing it at the end when it was obviously over. So even using that intel for me, it just says, if you want to get the 100% video watching rate, maybe just don't do an animated logo. Close out with a thank you, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, what
Um,
was that video? It sounds like it was the best performing. What was different about that one or different about the level of personalization or even segmentation?
That was the one that we filmed. Well, there were two that I would say well, all of them had decent rates, but there were two that had exceptionally high rates. One was the 3-year milestone. So that was a video that we had put together specifically for 3-year donors who had hit their 3-year milestone. And we had filmed that at that event where we had students come in and write their thank you notes. So we had actually gotten real students to be the star of that video and kind of speak on video and kind of say their thank you. We also filmed it on iPhones as opposed to paying for more curated video. And I think that real moment, that real engagement presents really authentically. And I
Yeah.
think that really resonates. And then it was the same for the closeout email for staff and alumni. We used, again, different footage, but footage from students who were at that thank you card writing event as well, and had them say thank you messages and kind of stitched it together. I did I edited it and put it together, and I'm not a professional. But I think, again, just that grittiness and that genuine, authentic feel really goes a long way because it means something. It's not curated, it's not something that's crafted and stitched together. Like, there's definitely a moment for higher scale, higher production videos. But for this, for those moments where you're really trying to say thank you authentically and kind of true impact, something real and gritty kind of it translates better. And kind of using that thank you card moment to kind of get those messages on camera and then putting them in the closeout video really worked well for us.
Oh, I'm so happy you say that. To be totally honest, for I think over 10 years, we've been really trying to broadcast that message out there that I know a lot of schools and universities and nonprofits, they feel very uncomfortable with a video that's less polished, whether it's recorded from their video camera or on their iPhone. But we've actually pushed that. We have seen, this is just kind of anecdotally me off the cuff here, but I think greater completion rates and interaction with the videos when they feel like this, more like our conversation
Yeah.
now, or when you're FaceTiming your family, it does feel very real. It feels a little more authentic than something that's maybe very beautifully produced. There's always a time and a place for that as well. But I am very, very happy to hear you say that because yeah, honestly I couldn't agree more, and frankly everybody at the company couldn't agree more with you there.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
I think that
thanks for,
when you're,
oh, go on.
oh
Sorry.
no, I was just, when you're focused on gratitude, that should feel personal and authentic. And it feels like the right avenue for testing or piloting what you refer to as gritty.
Yeah. Well, and to me, like the metrics were strong, and that was something to definitely show the team and show that like what we worked on, like measurement wise, had was successful. But to me, the real win was donors feeling recognized authentically, and that's not always easy to do. And so again, there were just different opportunities throughout Thank-You-ary that presented natural means to get that authentic thank you right from students, and so that was a really nice. Um, Discovery in the project as well. And like I said, some of the messaging that we filmed we didn't use for Thank-You-ary, but we've kept it on hand for the year. So that was nice too, because it kind of just gives us additional content when we need it that's authentic.
Well, wow. I mean, that was well, congrats. I'm excited for you in the future if you do decide to make this 2 months or 12 months, frankly, if you decide why not, just keep
I
the
know,
keep
or
the good
12.
times rolling. But I love the idea. Congrats on, frankly, getting a team together. I feel like usually during the second week of December, for most companies, meetings are closing out with tasks, and people are like, "Ooh, I think I hear those sleigh bells are ringing. I don't know. Maybe we'll get back in. I'll see you in January." So to motivate at that time is pretty exceptional as well. So kudos to you as a leader for doing that, and congratulations again on this very, very well-deserved award.